Hi, Nasreen. It's so nice to see you again in Ignition.
Hello there, Faroukh. We're at it again. Thank you for having me again. Such
Thank
a
you
pleasure
very
to
much.
be here.
Thank you very much. Because those who do not know, Nasreen was the initiative to start Ignition. She came up saying that Faroukh, please interview me. And I did an interview. And that's when the spark came in me. And I thought, why not I go ahead with a program which is called Ignition. Now, we had Ignition with more than 40 different other speakers and coaches. And we are coming up with a book which is going to be released within the next 2 weeks' time, most probably within 2 weeks' time. And Nasreen, you have worked with all my books. I have already written 4 books, and now this is the fifth book that we are coming out with. And when it came to the fifth book, you are the editor in chief. You took control. You took over the control. I said, Nasreen, you take control. You deal with the authors. You talk to them. You speak to them. You take notes and you improvise everything. So it was a leadership quality that you took over. Nasreen, tell me, how did you find this book and your journey for the last 1 year from where you are today and what you were 1 year back, where you didn't have any clue about how to write book, but today there are a lot of authors who come and knock your door to seek your help because you are the one to help from the back end. Tell me your story.
Well, Faroukh, it's been quite a developmental journey.
Mm-hmm.
I started, of course, with you throwing out the challenge for 7 ways to lead yourself and others, which we were finished and we published.
Yep.
And then we wrote, Ignite the Champion Within and Inspire Others to Begin. And of
Absolutely.
course, by the grace of God, that became, a number one bestseller on Amazon. But when I compare my growth and my development from that book
Yeah.
to what we did now with Answer the Call, Ignition, I can truly say that it has been such a learning curve and a huge learning opportunity for me. You having opened up that door for me to come in as an editor and to deal with all of the authors that you wanted to include in your book just made me want to do that much better and perform that much better, not for myself but for them, because the responsibility of telling their stories lay on our shoulders.
Yeah.
Um, and I had a lot of learning to do before I took over that project.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that I had much editing experience, let alone developmental editing experience.
Mm-hmm.
But every time you throw out that challenge, Nasreen goes back to the drawing board. She learns a little bit more. She develops herself a little bit more, and then she takes on the challenge. And then the result is Ignition, Answering the Call. It was Ignite the Champion Within, Inspire Others to Begin was a great book to write.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me a hell of a lot of exposure to my inner world, the inner world of others,
Yeah.
and the outer world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I used a lot of that learning experience to actually apply it to the authors that I was now editing for and writing for.
Mm-hmm.
And I was you can say that it helped me to use my intuition
Mm-hmm.
to tap into what they were thinking and what they were feeling
Yeah.
when they were writing their stories. And
Mm-hmm.
that helped me to develop their stories and to edit and develop it in the way that it has been written right now. So it's been
Mm-hmm.
a wonderful learning curve. But it was also a big challenge because the project came in at a time when I was writing my own book, and this
Yeah.
time another book, and this time, I've gone all pros in leadership and love, life, and family in one book.
Mm-hmm.
And I was writing this at the same time as I was handling your project. So it's been a huge learning curve, but it's been an absolutely amazing journey. I cannot tell you how much I have learned and enjoyed the process. And I cannot tell you how much I've enjoyed the process and how much I've discovered about my own talents and my own abilities, and how that has helped me to develop as an author, an editor, a ghostwriter, a transcriber. And I'm doing so much more work for so many more authors now, and that's a wonderful thing. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Nasreen, I know out of this 27 authors, there are some authors who have come back to you saying that we want to write a book, and you said, yes, I'm going to help you. My question to you is, there are a lot of brothers and sisters out there who have got this dream to write their own book, but they don't know where to start with. How can they approach you, and how can you help them starting from zero till they publish their book and get it marketed?
Well, the first thing I want to tell those kinds of authors is there's nothing to fear. Everybody has a story to tell.
Yep.
And when there is a story to tell, then it's a matter of getting in touch. You can use my Facebook page, Best Version of Your Passions. You can inbox me on that. You can use my email address, nvariyawa@yahoo.com. And you can get in touch and we can talk about your story. And I can help you and guide you through the process of writing. And yes, just like you, there have been many authors that have actually approached me after this project because they want to do books of their own. They want to tell their stories in a bigger version, in a book of their own. And it has been a wonderful process to self-learn and then to teach them how to actually go through the process of telling their stories effectively and in an enjoyable way, in a creative way. Everybody can do it. All they have to do is believe in themselves, believe in their stories, and believe that they have a lesson to teach as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. There are some authors who do not know how to write. So is there any other way where they can come up with an audio and you transcribe it and then you convert it into text format and then you edit it and come up with a book? Because that's normally done in different parts of the world. Do you do that?
Yeah, you know, Faroukh, we actually did it for the first time on this project with Ignition, where we actually got a telephone recording, an SMS recording from an author. We transcribed it, and then we turned it into a story. And since then, I have had a number of calls from authors who are actually traveling, who don't have the time to sit down and put pen to paper, who will send recordings to me, and then I will transcribe and actually turn it into a story. And this is an ongoing process because they want to record their experiences while they are traveling.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful because I get to live their travels through them. And I get to put it into a book for them. And yes, it's absolutely doable. Then there are authors who send me bullet points, just bullet points, in the order that they want the story told. And then I take it from there and I turn it into a story.
Wow.
Of course, there are some times when I can get it wrong, when I can interpret it incorrectly, parts of the story incorrectly. But that's the process between a ghostwriter, editor, and an author. You go back, you check the facts, you rewrite, you adjust. And once that happens, that turns into a story. And it's a wonderful process because it comes to you as bullet points in writing or a little typed up document. And you have to sit, you have to tap into the emotions of that person because this person has only written bullet points. There's no emotions. There's no how I felt, what I wanted, what I thought. You have to imagine that. You have to tap into the mind of that person. And then you have to write accordingly. You have to put the emotions in place and you have to hope that you get that part right. And luckily, or I don't know whether I just have a very strong intuition, but I've been able to get it right most of the time. 95% of the time, I get that part right. So I think that's a huge plus for me, and it's actually why it's been such a success as well. Because I've had authors come back and say, wow, how did you know that?
Wow.
Are you psychic? No, guys, guys, I'm not psychic. I hope I never will be psychic. That must be extremely disturbing to the mind. But I do have strong intuition, and I am able to tap into what must have been felt, what could have been the thought processes. And it's a matter of knowing who you're writing for as well.
Yeah.
Most of the authors that we worked with on this project, Farookh, have been extremely amenable people. You can call them up and say, look, I don't understand what you meant at this point. Can you tell me a little bit more about this? I'm writing this portion. Can you clarify this for me? And then you go through the process and you tap into what they feel, what they think. You put that down on paper as best as you can, and really it's been an awesome experience being able to do that. I've thoroughly enjoyed doing it.
Wow. Now you use the word ghostwriter. Now, whenever you write for somebody else, you are from the back end, you're writing. Would you prefer your name to be there, or do you sign a contract where your name would not appear?
I think it depends entirely on the authors. For now, I've left it with the authors. They can decide whether or not they would like to share the authoring rights with me or not.
Okay.
Some authors have been, like yourself, have been generous enough to give me a place on the book cover because of some of the ghostwriting that I did. Other authors are not out for that. They would rather pay a royalty for book sales than give me recognition, and that's quite fine as well. There's no issues with me really. I tend to enjoy both. At the end of the day, it's a creative output. It's what I feel at the end of the day when I've put out that product that matters. It's the fact that I enjoy it. I make lots of friends from it. Lifelong friends that I know will be with me through the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
And that's the added value, Faroukh, because all of these people in their stories and in my communication with them have taught me lessons that I will remember for the rest of my life, that I will be able to apply wherever I am and whatever I'm doing. I will remember them.
Wow.
And that is the beauty of doing what I do.
Excellent, excellent. Nasreen, you know that we have started with the second series of Ignition. Now, I think tomorrow we have got the fourth interview that I'm going to have. And for sure, we're going to come up with the second series of the second volume of Ignition, the book itself. The good news is you will be the chief editor in volume number 2 as well.
Wow, thank you. I'm going to thoroughly enjoy that experience.
Nasreen, it was proud to have a friend like you, a really, really good friend. And I really enjoyed walking along with you in all my books and all my tasks that I had as a coach, as a trainer, as a leader. Thank you very much for your support. Ladies and gentlemen, Nasreen.